Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to the stream and another chapter. Working on that guy, our Su-57 148 scale by Zvezda. Yeah, I had to think about that for a minute. Anyway, we'll run the intro, we'll get right into it, okay? Okay, so we're back, guys. We're going to continue on the build. And so, I think last time we got a lot of fuselage stuff done. Intakes are in there. We got the caps put on the intakes. I haven't sanded those down. I'll do that later. Just because I want it to be nice and a nice smooth transition on there. We got that done. We got a little bit of our elevators done. It's not much to them, just put the two pieces put together and then little caps on there so that they can go on there. Okay, those are done. We're working on the engine nozzles a little bit. I have not painted them yet because, well, they don't really have to go on until the end of the build, really, right? So, what are we going to do today? Well, first off, we're going to change the camera and get some glasses put on my face, and we'll see what's next, alright? Alright, that sounds good to me. Yes. Alright, let's see here. Let's change the camera. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Here we go. Okay. So as I mentioned, we got our nozzles put together. We did our little engine cups here. Got those two done. Okay. And we worked on our elevators. Okay. Those are done. Alright. And so the next thing we need to do is our tail fins. We got to put our two halves of our tail fins together for each one. So let's grab those out of the box. We're not going to need those. We're not going to need these. We're going to need that screw. So let's just get these so that I can grab it. Okay, so our elevators. This is pretty straightforward because you only have two, and so it means we've got four pieces. So let's grab these. If you do get mixed up on which ones go with which, it's not the end of the world because they're only going to go one way. It's going to be pretty obvious which one is which once you start trying to line them up. I'll show you in a sec here. Okay, obviously there's a big divot in that one there, so that means that ain't gonna line up with that, so it ain't that one. It's gonna be this one that it lines up with, just like that, right? So that's obvious. And so we got to clean up our nub here. Get that nice and smooth. Where's my file? I'm going to get this, my tweezers and my knife over here. Okay. So this has to be a nice flat edge there, so that it will line up. Because it sits in this little channel here, and it's got to be flat in there. Otherwise, she just ain't going to line up. Okay, so there you go. That's that. We'll clean up little other nubs like this. Get that nice and smooth. So we've got a nice, good transition like that. Okay, so we've got that. And so let's put some glue on there. That and along that seam. You can do the other edges if you want, but it's a nice fit, nice flush fit, so I don't have to clamp it. It's going to stay there like that forever, and that's all we need to do. Actually, I do want to clamp that. I'll just use one of these just to help it out. Of course, putting a clamp on that side requires a clamp on this side. That's okay. There's done. Let's look at this one here. Let's get that little nub off of there. Make sure this is flat. Okay, and that is the only nub we're going to worry about. And a little bit right here. Make sure that's flat. Okay. The same on this one. Got a bit of a nub here. And there's a little bit of one here that's going to interfere with the fitment, so let's make sure that's nice and flat. Okay. We got a little bit of a nothing going on up there, so this should fit on there nicely. Yep, perfect. I'm going to get a couple of clamps ready in anticipation of it doing the same thing on this side. Just put a clamp there and get that in there like that, and we'll put a clamp on that side. Alright, now later on I think I might put a little bit of putty in that panel line. Well, it's really not a panel line. It's supposed to be a panel line, but it's also a parting line, so it's going to be a lot deeper than the other panel lines that are on here. So if you go to put your, some panel liner paint in there, this one's really going to stick out, or the paint just might go right in there and disappear, right? So I might put some putty in there just to fill that in so it's not quite so deep, right? We'll decide later on. So these get to dry. Now on the other plane that I built, you guys know I've built one of these before, and that particular plane, when I put the wings in, when I put these in here, they just kind of flop around, right? And even though there is a little bit of a notch, this peg has a notch on it. See that little notch right there? There's a notch right there. I think that's supposed to kind of lock it into position, but it doesn't. It doesn't lock it at all. And so this one actually, it won't go in here at all. So these are definitely lefts and rights, but it just kind of flops around. And I find my other model sitting on the shelf, the wings are just a really weird angle all the time. So I might do something with this to just make it that a little bit tighter of a fit, because it really is a sloppy fit. It's a sloppy fit in there, right? So I might just do something, I don't know what exactly, to make that a bit of a tighter fit. We'll see. We'll see when the time comes. When the time comes. So with these, we're just going to let these dry for a little bit off to the side here, and we'll see what else we have to do. I think it's time to put our two fuselage halves together. Okay, that's going to require lots of clamps all the way around to make sure that it's going to hold together. So I'm going to get all my clamps out here ready. I've got even more. I've got lots of clamps. So I'll get a few more out here. Lots of flat surfaces on this airplane. So let's do a test fit, okay? And see how this is going to line up. I did have one guy, he commented on one of my videos earlier that he bought this kit and he found that the fuselage and everything did not line up at all, and it was warped. So I did not have that problem with the other kit that I built. So hopefully, I mean, that's unfortunate when you've got it really warped straight out of the box. That really sucks. Nobody wants to have that experience. I'm sure it would be fixable, but just double checking any nubs that I've got here. that might be going on. So this channel has a little bit of a tip, like the tip of the nose is there on this one, and then the tip of this nose is kind of flat right there. So we know that that's got to go in and line up that way. So that's kind of an indicator. You guys see that there? Kind of, it doesn't go all the way to the tip, right? See that? If the camera will focus, you can see that goes. Stay focused. Stay focused. Hey, Anna. So if we can get a focus here, that is got a tip on there, and so that's got to line up. It doesn't go all the way to the tip. It just goes to the edge. Okay. So we're going to put that, line that up there. There's a little bit of a peg, and then we're going to see that just kind of fits in there. So a little bit of putty will fix that little line there. But this looks like we've got a pretty good, it lines up nicely. So the bottom part of the wing actually sits into a little channel all around here, like this. And that seems to line up very nicely. So I don't think we're going to have any issues with this fit. Oh, thanks for watching, Anna. Yes, Su-57, that is what we've got. It's the 1/48 scale by Zvezda. Alright, so I think we've got a good fit. I think we can get some glue going. I'll put a couple of clamps on just to help hold this together for now, while I'm going to start gluing this. So put a few clamps here, all the way around, especially on the wings. That, and that. I don't think I need any clamps on the nose. The nose seems to want to sit where it is. But I am going to grab a little rubber band. So I got these little white rubber bands. I don't know where I get them from, but I've got a bunch of them. Okay, let's get some glue put on this thing. Get this started. So I'm just going to run it right along the edge there. Okay. Just like that. And like I said, we'll come in later and we'll put a little bit of putty on the nose there, just to make that little parting line disappear. Just going to hold this like that. Some glue in there. All the way along our edge. There we go. And a little bit in there. I love the Tamiya extra thin. It's capillary action. I'm just going to slide this along up here like this. Just so it holds a little tight on there. There we go. Don't need much. This is holding together really nicely, just all on its own. So I'm going to put some glue in here, and then I'll put a clamp down on it, just to hold that. Same on this side. And just kind of work our way around. Pull the clamp out of my way. And then we put it back. Just like that. And like that. So we work our way around the entire plane. into our engine. You are a jet designer? No, definitely not a designer at all. I'm just a simple model builder. That's really all I am. I'm just a guy who likes to build models. Not just planes. We model cars and tanks. I even do some Gundams once in a while. I was a big fan of Transformers growing up, so yeah. I like the Gundams too. For this part, I'm going to use this clamp. Doink. That. Woohoo! Always fun when clamps go flying off. We'll use one of those then. Alright, now this side. This one looks like it's going to need a little bit of some force on this side to get that to go together. So I'm going to have to use another one of these, but I'll put it right there. Let's get some glue on there. Hold that like that, and we'll grab this. There we go. That seems to do the job. I've got a little bit of it separating there. Let's do that. I need to reapply a little bit of glue to the tip here. Which company do you work? Well, I don't really want to tell everybody in the world what company I work for. I will say this. I work for a forklift dealership. So this clamp kind of wants to slide off the end. So I might wind up just putting a rubber band on there. We'll see. We'll see how it goes after I continue going with this. So it kind of wants to just come off there. Side. I'll put one of these little alligator clips on there just to hold that, and now we get to this wing. Okay. I'm gonna move this guy right there. Here, and I'm going to add another clip right there. Get that in there nice and tight. Hold that down. We're almost done. We're almost all the way along around. Go. I'm going to use one more just for good measure. Right on there. And I believe that's it. So I already did this part, right? Yeah, I can see the glue there. I already did this part. Okay, so there's our fuselage halves glued together, just like that. Looking good. It lines up nicely. I will say it's 2 times now I have purchased this kit, and 2 times I've got good alignment of the 2 fuselage halves. So if you buy this kit and you experience some warpage, I'm going to say that's really unfortunate, but it's not something to be expected from this kit. Because the kit seems to be good enough quality that most of the time you don't have warped fuselage. So what I do want to do, once this glue is all cured, I am going to want to put some putty in these lines going around the wings, just because that panel line is a little bit, it's a little too deep. A little too deep. Okay? So we need to let this cure for a little bit. Okay? So I know probably, hopefully this, I can take this off, because that clamp is going to want to fly off anyway. Same with this guy. Should be able to remove that. The glue should have done its job. Nope. So I'm going to need a little bit stronger of a clamp on that edge right there, just to hold that in place. So I've got a little bit of a gap wanting to open up right there. Dawn. What's dawn? What do you mean, Anna? What's dawn? I don't understand. Okay, so a little more glue, a little bit heavier of a clamp there. I'm going to put this down here for a minute while I see what's going to be next. And I'll put these away because I don't need them. And I'll clean up some of my extra clamps here real quick. Put them away, just to clean up some area here. Okay, so with our 2 fuselage halves finished, they would have us put our engines and wings on, but we're not doing that yet. They would have us do our HUD in the cockpit and then put the canopy on. Again, we're not doing that yet. We've got other things that need to be done first before we get to that stage. So we have our, I believe these are canards. I think that's what they call them. They go on the front of the leading edge there, and so we need to assemble our 2 halves. So we're going to grab our F tree. F21, 30, 24, and 29, and it looks like we've got options here, version 1 and version 2. I think what it is you can display them either straight out or pivoted down. That is totally up to you how you want to have them. I think it really just depends on what the pilot happens to be doing in the moment of his flight. Will depend on whether those are up or down, like flipped or not. Almost done. No, I got quite a bit to do yet. I'll just show you quickly in the instructions. So yeah, I've got to put these on here. We have to put the canopy on. Our landing gear bays are closed, so this part and all the landing gear assembly, we don't have to assemble any of the landing gear because this plane is going to be displayed in flight. So, like I said, all the landing gear bays, these are going to be closed up. All right. Same with the missiles in the middle. The missiles are all, it's all closed up. So all these don't need to be done at all. It's really a simplified version. Speaking of which, we can put our landing gear bay doors on, and let's get those done. So we're going to have it closed for, this is what they call it version 1. Version 1 is where everything's closed. So let's grab those pieces. Again, they're off the F tree, so let's find those. So here's our F tree. So here's our main left and right bay doors. So let's get these off of here. Like that. And that. Okay, so we've got these. Those got to go on. And then we're going to have to grab our F tree. And we got our little canards here. So let's get these off of here because we're going to need them. And we'll get them lined up. I think these are similar to our tail fins. Yeah, we've got a little channel that they're going to fall into. So lefts and rights won't be too hard to figure it out which ones we want to do. So we'll get them all off of here. Now they don't give you enough to do both versions and have it complete. You know, if you wanted to say just put one on for a while and then decide to take them off and display it with them the other way. You can't do that because you only have, you have these guys here, okay, like that, and then you have these guys here like this, and they're like pretty much the same thing, but you only have two of the others of the undersides. So you have to decide which ones you're going to choose based on what way you want to display it. And then you're going to put these on in the inner channel, and they're going to go in like this. Okay, kind of like that. Okay, they're going to go in kind of like this, and it's going to just depend which one you want to use. So let's see. I think since we have our elevators are going to be straight, our engines are going to be straight, I think having the canards straight is a good idea. Let's have a look, see which ones we need to do. Almost done. You're also a designer. Oh wow. But so this is for the other side. So let's just grab this one. We'll take this off. So you can tell, but when you go to put it on here, what angle it's going to be at, is how's it going to sit. I believe this is our one that's straight, like that. Okay, and this one will be our curved. Yeah, you can tell it's got a curve to it, so that would be down like that, and that's how it would sit. It's going to sit down like this. So we'll get that angle for you so you guys can see. This one would sit down like this in that position. Now my hand's in the way and you can't see. Like this. It'd sit like that. So I mean, that's cool to have if you want to have it displayed like that, because it shows that's an actual movable piece on the real plane and doesn't just sit static and straight. It sits like this, right? But we're going to go straight with this. So which one did I choose? It was going to be this one. This is a straight one, okay? And you can kind of tell just by looking at them. This one seems to have this extra little bit sticking out the back here, and this one doesn't, right? You can kind of tell the two differences like this, like that, right? Design stream visuals of like overlays, emotes, panels tailored to your style. DM me if you're looking for upgrade to contents. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, Anna. So we got to clean up our nubs off of this first. That's most important. Clean these up. Just like that. And then I got my little nub sticking out here. That needs to be cleaned up. There we go. And of course, where it's going to meet the fuselage. So that's that one. So we're going to take this, put it aside, and this one too. We're going to get these pieces all cleaned up here and ready to go. Just get it all ready. Okay. And I've thrown the wrong one away. Gotta keep this one, not that one. be mindful, you need a straight line here. Okay? Here too. Your lines should be straight. Don't gouge out your nubs and ruin your lines. And the lines for this one, yeah, they're just as important. You want them straight, but I will show stuff. Oh yeah, okay. A little bit hard to clean up the nub in between those two pegs, so that's why I use the knife instead. Okay, so this guy is going to go into this one. Just like that, snaps in. It's a nice fit, fits nicely, nice and snug. So get some glue on the channel there, and I'm going to put some glue along our edge too. There we go. Don't need a clamp for this. This is sitting in the channel just where it's supposed to be, so it's nice. That's good. So that's one done. All right, that seems pretty good. Let's get this guy in this little channel. This guy might need a clamp. We'll see once I get glue on him. We'll see if he stays. I have a feeling, yeah, need a clamp. Sometimes you just need a clamp. That's the way it goes. Okay, so he gets dry and he's ready. So let's take a look at our landing gear bay doors. These are designed to go in one piece. They should fit flush and flat, but you never know, because a lot of these kits are designed to have your landing gear displayed open or down, and so they don't really bother engineering the bay doors good enough to fit closed. And sometimes they give you the options. They'll give you ones like this that are closed, but then they'll also give you another set for when they're open. Some model kits do that, but that is actually, I find that's much more rare these days to find kits like that. Most of them just display them with the landing gear down, and that's all they give you. Let's see here. Okay, so I might have to trim off these tabs. There's two little tabs right there and there for, you know, how the door attaches to the fuselage, but I might have to trim that off in order to fit these closed. I don't know yet. We're going to find out in a minute once I get these nubs cleaned up. Okay, let's have a look. I think it's probably safe to take all my clamps off, but we'll take a look here. I don't think I'll have to take the tabs off because they've got two little notches right there and there. It looks like we're going to be able to get this in there. See, to display it open, you're just going to put this like that with your hydraulics holding it open, but we don't need to worry about that. So this should fit in there. It doesn't really fit in there. It's trying to fit in there, but it's really just not doing the job. Which means I'm going to have some work to do to get that to actually fit in there flush and flat. That's not a good fit at all. I mean, it's close, but that's really sitting out proud like that, and that's not good. So I think the biggest issue is this little inner wall on the inside here is hitting on the inside, and it doesn't allow this to go in far enough. You see that little channel that's sticking out there, and I believe that's what the problem is, because that's interfering on this inner edge right along in here. I think that's what the problem is. And we also have a little bit of an inner edge along here too. I might be able to get away with kind of trimming that down a little bit, but I think it's going to take trimming it on both sides. Because even if I just put that in there like that and get that aligned, we're not really, it doesn't really fit. She don't really fit in there. She just won't go. So yeah, it's going to take a lot of stuff, a lot of filing and trial and error to get that in there. Okay, I'm going to work on this off camera because it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a long time. I might have to get my Dremel out just to Dremel this down and get this thinner in there and get that just better. So that's going to take a lot of work. I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, guys? In the meantime, let's check out our front landing gear bay doors. So that's off of the E tree. So let's grab the E tree. And we have these guys here. Now they do have them as separate pieces also if you wanted to go that route. Okay? But if your landing gear is going to be displayed. But we are not having it displayed, so we don't have to worry about that. What we do have to worry about, however, is whether this is going to fit. That's what we have to worry about. So first things first. Rid of them nubs. I'm kind of preemptively sanding it on a bit of an angle to kind of chamfer it on the edges, just in case I run into the similar issue with these. We will see. Excuse my knife here. This one just is kind of a big panel that's going to go in there. So, I think I can take away some of my little clamps here now. And, so I don't have to worry about clamps flinging everywhere. So, let's have a look. We got this one that's going to go on the front section, and that fits perfect. I spoke too soon. It's kind of sitting proud on that side. There's nothing stopping it there. What is stopping it is a bit of a nub. A nub that I didn't get rid of. Let's try this again. That solved it. Now it's flush. Okay, that's the front part. The rear part is going to go in right there. Hey, and she fits good. We've got good fitment on our front. So this one is not an issue at all. We're going to glue this guy in. That's good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to have to hold this. It does want to sit up. It's like it's not molded quite flat, or it's just, yeah, it's just not, it's not perfect, you know? You never get anything quite perfect when it's not actually part of the mold. But we got it buttoned up. And that's a pretty flush fit. Pretty good. A little bit of sanding take a little bit of the edge off, that it's kind of sitting just a, you know, I want to say 1/10 of a millimeter out. But it's not a big deal at all. Now for our canards. This guy is going to go in right there, I believe. Or do I flip it over? Yeah, I got it on the wrong side. That's why I didn't want to fit right. Just line up our tabs and get that in there. Like that. And he's just going to sit like that. We'll get it lined up so it's not sitting high. It should be sitting even with it right there. And there you go. So we can glue that one on. And I will also glue the underside. Just like that. Alright, so there's one. Let's get the other one. This guy. You don't need clamps no more. Put this guy in his little home. Doesn't really want to sit in there. I got something interfering. He doesn't want to sit as flush as his friend. Why? What's your problem? What's your problem? So there is kind of this little there is kind of this little thing sticking out right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little block sitting out, and on this there's a little slot that it should sit in. But I feel like I got something interfering on this side that doesn't want it to sit. It's sitting forward for some reason. got not that edge. This edge is fine. Maybe I've got a nub sticking out or something that I didn't clean up. That's always possible. You guys hear me all the time talking about cleaning up your nubs, and that's very important for your fitment. If your nubs aren't clean, you're not going to fit. The airplanes are louder today than normal because it is raining. We got some rain going on today, so cleaning up those nubs really didn't do anything for this fitment I've got going on here. She's just not going to fit flush. If I angle it down a little bit, it's flush on this side, but that's not supposed to be angled. So I'm just going to have to live with that and put glue in there. I mean, maybe with the little glue on there, it might help. It'll soften the plastic a little bit. And maybe it'll help to do what we need. This guy still wants to sit a little bit high. You need to sit where you're supposed to, buddy. Go where you're supposed to. Stop. Sit flush. You sit flush. That's what you're supposed to do. That's right. Okay, let's see if I can push this back a little bit now. No, she's not moving. She's not budging. She's right tight against there. She's tight against here. That's just the way it's going to sit. So we got a gap on this side, but you see that gap? Yeah, you can see that gap. It looks terrible, right? Well, we'll fix that with some putty later on. Alright, so there's our canards installed. Just like that. Alrighty. So, with that done, I think that's about where I need to leave it for today. I think that's going to be it. I'm going to have to call it for the day, guys. I'll just do a test fit real quick on this particular bay door. Although I'm pretty sure I'm going to wind up with the same issue. Yeah, she's just sitting proud and just won't fit in there. So we got cleanup to do. I gotta have to do a bunch of work on that. I'll do those off camera and we'll install them next time. Alright guys, so this is where I'm gonna leave it for today. Alright, we're gonna let that dry and I'm gonna work on those landing gear bay doors off camera and get those all cleaned up and ready to be installed. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for the support, the new subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. One thing I want to mention, I do have myself a 3D printer, and I want to show you guys kind of the process of doing a 3D print, printing off the stuff, doing a custom piece, printing it off, getting it prepped, and putting it on a model kit. I want to go that route. I want to show you guys that whole process. Now, I'm fairly new to 3D printing myself, and so I'm still learning this. I want to learn along with you guys and do that. So that's going to be future content. Not with this particular build, but something in the future, near future. I'm going to do that. I'm going to show you guys some 3D printing stuff, and we're going to do that, and we're going to learn how to 3D print stuff, how to download, install it on the printer, print it out, clean it up, all that stuff. and do that stuff. You could probably see in the back of my table there, you guys have seen me working on some resin stuff before. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for the chat there, Anna, and we'll see you all in the next one.